That tab is there. This one I'm just waiting, and then we will get started.
How many screens do you look at?
Typically 3.
Oh, I got 1.
Right, there we go. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a Cyndicate Talk Season 2. And I, of course, am your host, Mitch Camage and Savage in Business. And we are here to bring you the finest in education for a better life, a better business, and of course, a better universe out there as well. Riding shotgun with me today and doing all of the heavy lifting is my wonderful co-host. And the reason that we're here, Miss Barbilee Hemmings. Barbilee, welcome. That's our girl right there. And what an awesome subject. And I've loved the title since you messaged me last week with it. Time to pee. And you're going, what kind of episode of Cyndicate Talks is this? It's really quite simple. I'm not going to steal all the thunder. I'm going to let Barbilee explain in a moment. But time to pee, the amount of time it takes to simply get up and go to the bathroom is about all the time it takes to get yourself well organized when it comes to your business, your life, or everything else that's really, really important. And yet we continue to overlook time and again, taking a small moment to be able to pause, look at what's really important, what really needs to get done, and making sure that has the right home. And Barbilee is a fantastic engineer of time. She's wonderful with it. She's a master of it. And of course, she is going to be able to educate and help you. So if you're watching live on YouTube, Barbilee will say it properly in a moment. I'm going to say hello. She'll say it in Mexican or Spanish because she's down there in Mexico right now, living in a much nicer environment than we are because it's still cold where I am right now. And that's just about as far as we'll go down that rabbit hole. Anyway, welcome to Cyndicate Talks Season 2. Barbilee Hemmings is up on deck as well. You need to buckle in for about the next 54, 55, 56 minutes. It's going to come at you. Make sure you got one of these. Make sure you got one of these. And for our live studio audience, don't hesitate to participate. She's here to answer questions. And if you are live, of course, on YouTube and you wish to, you could reach out to her as well. You can find us, obviously, syndicate.org. Come and find her, ping her, and get after her. Otherwise, this is here for you to make your life better. And with that, Barbilee, welcome to Cyndicate Talks. Thanks for joining us and giving us, obviously, something that you're so passionate about, empowered with, and an absolute expert with. And with that, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Mitch. I love when people talk about me. I go, dang, I'm good. Always makes me feel that way, right? When somebody else is talking about me. Okay, so we are here today, and I'm just going to correct a little thing that Mitch said. I'm not a master of time. I'm a master of my activities. And that's what we're going to talk about today, because we only have 24 hours in a day, and we all have the same 24 hours, whether you're on this side of the world or the other side of the world or we're anywhere in between. We all are given 24 hours a day. It's how we deal and how we handle the activities and what we do in that 20 hour or the 24 hours a day. So I am going to share my screen, and I'm going to go into present mode. All right, somebody give me a nod that you can see my screen. Thanks. Okay, so this is interactive. However, I cannot see the chat. So you will have to unmute yourself if you actually want to hear, because I don't have dual screens that I can see the chat and my presentation. Okay, so my name is Barbilee Hemmings. A lot of people know my business as the bestbreakfastever.com. And you're like, what? Why do you have quality of life assurance? That is my umbrella company. It encompasses everything that I do. So the quality of life assurance specialist in me does things like this, where I teach people how to take time to pee. Now you're all going, that's kind of a weird topic, Barbilee. Why would we be talking about taking time to pee? Well, that's the thing we tend to forget to do, or we don't do very much in the day because A, we're not eating properly, or B, we're not taking the time for ourselves, or C, we just plain forget. And then it's a whole other health issue, and that's a whole other conversation. So today, what we're going to do is we're going to focus on our time, on how we can be better at just life in general. And I love this quote by Charles Buxton that says, you will never find time for anything. If you want it, you got to make it, right? People say, oh, I'll let you know. When they say that, do we know if they're going to show up? We already know they're not going to show up. Oh, maybe. How about when somebody says maybe? Are they going to show up? No, they never do, right? Maybe, but I doubt it, right? When someone says, yes, I'll be there, right? We have to make time for the things that are important. There's a ton of quotes out there. So if you're live, you can unmute yourself, What's a quote, something around time or, time management stuff that we've heard out in the world? So something that somebody has said to you, things like, oh, don't waste my time, right? How many of you have heard that one? Right? What else have we heard? Anything else? Don't be shy.
My time is worth more than yours.
Oh, time is worth something. Time is money, right? We have all these expressions. Here's the thing about our world, our time. It is what we give it power for. Does that make sense? We give it the power. So many people think their schedule runs them, but we are the ones that fill in our schedule. So today, that's what we're going to talk about. We cannot manage time. I said there's 24 hours in the day. Nobody gets any more or less. Let's imagine that we wake up at 7 in the morning and we go to bed at 11 at night. How many of you get 8 hours of sleep a night? Raise your hand. How many of you know you should be getting at least 7, 8 hours of sleep a night? Raise your hand. There you go. See, we know it, but we put other things first. And when we're not our best, just so you know, we can't give our best. So let's talk about activity management, because we already know there's 24 hours. We cannot do anything about that. So let's imagine we wake up at 7 in the morning. And if you get up earlier than that, that's fine. Don't worry about it. It's not that big of a deal. I'm going to give a nice kind of a umbrella approach, and then we're going to fit it in individually for you guys. So that's saying you're going to sleep 6 or 8 hours a night. That leaves 16 hours a day for you to manage your activities. That's a lot of time in a day, right? So that gives you 112 hours a week. I like to work with round numbers. So I gave you 2 weeks for flex time in case you wanted to sleep in on the weekend. But I like working with round numbers. So I'm working with 110 hours per week. So you're like, oh my God, I work 80 hours a week. Well, then there's a problem. Oh my God, I work 90 hours a week. Well, there's a problem. And this is, I always tell people, shoot for the ideal. You're not going to start there, but shoot for it. It took me a while to get to a place where, well, now I play a lot more than I work, but that's, something that I've created in my world. But we have to shoot. We have to have a goal to shoot for. So if we're shooting for 8 hours of sleep a night, if we're shooting for this 110 hours in our week, it gives us something to look forward to. I break it down into a very simple system. Okay. If anyone has ever studied with T. Harv Eker and Peak Potentials training, you will recognize this system as his JARS system for money. People say time is money. Well, I turned his money system into a time system. And this is the key to what I feel is really scheduling your activities to ensure you get the best out of your days. Now, if we have 110 hours in our week because we went to sleep or we got up at 7 in the morning, went to bed at 11 o'clock at night, this is what we have. We break out 10% for pay yourself first. And we're going to go through each one of these so that you guys can figure out what in your life can fit into these different categories. And you might be surprised how much time you actually have versus how much time you're investing and how much time you're spending. Okay, and there's a big difference between investing your time and spending your time. So pay yourself first, play, give, education, investing for spending, and I said I'm going to go through all of these, and necessities. Now you're like, necessities, 55 hours. Oh my God, Barbilee, what are you talking about? Like it takes like 90% of my life is just doing the things I have to do. Right? You see on some of your expressions, it's like, yeah, that's exactly what it was. When I started doing this, I was at about 97% of just taking care of my kids, my job, my husband, my house, groceries, bills, that thing that we call life. And over time, when I started to look at things differently, I got to see how much I actually got to put in these other categories. And that's what we're going to talk about. So, number one, take care of your body. It's the only place you have to live. Does anybody on this call have a spare you in the closet? No. You might have a couple of business suits. You might have a couple of bathing suits. You might have a couple of, what other kind of, maybe you're an astronaut and you have a space suit, but you only have this one earth suit. So you better take care of it. That's what it means to pay yourself first. So you have 11 hours in your week. If you break it into a system, because people like things they can check off on little boxes and little lists, right? If you pay yourself first 10% of your time, that gives you 11 hours to take care of you. You get to do whatever you want in that 11 hours. You're going to take care of your health. You're going to take care of your mind. You're going to take care of your physical body, right? So pay yourself first. Invest in yourself so that you can be better. Now, I just gave you 11 hours this week. So my question is, how are you going to pay yourself first? So this is where the interaction comes. And this is where your pen and paper, and you're going to think about, and everybody that's on the call here that's paying attention, because I know some of you come to the call and you just ignore it and you go off screen and you go do something else. You're like, look at me, Barbilee, I'm supporting you. No, if you're here for you, I want you to unmute, because this is an interactive. It's the teacher in me, right? How are you going to pay yourself first this week? So think of 3 things. So number 1 for me is I meal plan. I meal plan every single week. So before I went grocery shopping yesterday with my daughter, we looked ahead to our week. We knew we were going out for lunch on Monday. We knew we were doing a double cleanse day on Wednesday, Thursday. So we looked at what food we needed. We bought what we needed. We made sure, do you understand? Because it's so important to me. So I planned my time and then I went grocery shopping for that. All of that probably took me about 6 hours because we're on Mexican time. So, you got to take a bus and you got to go to the market and, you got to do your kind of stuff. So those of you on the call, what's something you can implement this week that you're going to pay yourself first to take better care of yourself? Go, somebody unmute. And don't make me call you out because I will.
I'm going to read more.
Go, Jamie. Perfect. What kind of reading are you going to do, Jamie?
Oh, that wasn't me. Someone else said that.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
Stacy. Sorry, I don't have everybody's picture up. So what are you going to read?
That's what I'm
Think
reading.
and Grow Rich. Perfect. Okay, what else?
I meal plan just like you.
Perfect. Good job, Stacy. What else? Who else is out there? Because say something, somebody else might not be thinking about it, right?
I'm going to schedule in my hour of exercising because I always have a habit of putting that off because it's the least thing I like to do. So it's easy to not do it.
Perfect. You know what I love about that is you said it's the thing I least like to do. So I'm going to challenge you to have some fun. And when we get to the fun category, we'll pair the two. Okay? Because finding something you like to do, I like to play pickleball because it's a really social sport and it's a little bit of exercise, right? And I like to Zumba, right? And sometimes I just put on music and I dance. I don't like lifting weights. I don't want to sweat because I want to sweat. So I find things that are fun. Okay, one more. What else can we do to make sure you're taking care of your health? Come on, boys.
Spend some time with family, just family time.
Perfect, Doug. Family time. Okay? You get 11 hours. Take those 11 hours and pay yourself first. If this is the only category you truly spend your full time on, and we're going to talk about how some of them fit together, right? Because even what Stacy said about reading and what she was reading, it fits in another category as well. So sometimes these things can overlap, and until we can get them to the 10 to the 50%, we will, they can overlap and then it works for us. Okay. So did everybody write down 3 things that they can implement this week? Raise your right hand, bend at the elbow, and pat yourself on the back. Good job. Okay, perfect. Okay, next one. What do you think we're going to talk about now? Play. Okay. We have to play. And adults and business owners and employees and entrepreneurs, well, I have no time for fun. I can't have any fun. But then what happens is we get overwhelmed and burnt out and we veg or we binge. And then we lose hours because we didn't take care of ourselves, because we didn't play. And then we lose more time because we didn't do these first 2 things, is taking care of ourselves and playing. So we want to play. And I know, because as a school teacher, in the 7th grade, we take away recess. And that's when we stop teaching children how to play. And that's the worst thing the school system does for children. And when they're 12 years old, is they say, you don't get to play anymore. So I'm giving you permission as adults to sing, to dance, to laugh, create something, destroy something. I'm watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and Rosa's favorite wedding shower thing, bridal party, whatever it's called, those bachelorette, was they got to destroy a restaurant that was going up for demolition because she thought it was so much fun. I don't care, destroy something as long as it's not somebody else's property. Build something, go out with friends, be alone, go to sleep, have a date night, have sex with someone, without somebody, it doesn't matter. Play, right? Really make sure that you're going to take those 11 hours to play. Now, what if you liked cooking and cooking was part of your fun time? Could you combine the two? If you, maybe you didn't give yourself, like maybe your necessities is too full, and could you have fun while you're cooking or meal prepping for the family? Could you make it fun so it's not a chore? Now you're putting the two of them together, right? Now you're making sense of everything you quote unquote have to do, but you're looking at it differently. There's a beautiful expression out there that says, when you look, what you look at changes when you look at it and you change, right? I don't know what the expression, what the words are exactly. I suck with quotes, but it basically means when you're looking at something, you see it one way. And if you're in a bad space, it's going to be bad. But if you're in a good space, it's going to be good. So have fun meal planning. Jamie, have fun exercising. Figure out, exercise with a partner naked. Like, that's always fun, right? Naked yoga, that's a boatload of fun, right? So now it's your turn. How are you going to play for 11 hours this week? It's your question. Yes, it's 11 hours. So what are you going to do this week? Somebody tell me.
Well, as you may know, I actually don't believe that working out, and it kind of speaks to some of the conversations that we've had. I still say that it's playtime, right? Like, at what age? And you just mentioned 10, so now I know. So thank you for that. But working out shouldn't be a workout for the adults. It should still be playtime at some form, right? Yeah. So I'm definitely going to incorporate that into family time too, by including all the members of the family.
Perfect. Thanks, Matt. Who else?
I scheduled in 3 hours of playtime yesterday. That's it, no work. I put my phone on silent. I used to worry that, oh my gosh, if my phone's on silent, something devastating is going to happen, and nothing ever does. So kind of trained myself to, not even think about my phone, my emails, whatever. So yeah, 3 hours yesterday was playtime. So I'll figure out what I'll do for the rest.
And that's perfect. You know what? And I loved what you said, that we tend to get attached. What if? Well, seriously, if something serious happened, it's still going to be serious in 3 hours, right? So I say we have to take care of ourselves. And that's why pay yourself first is first, and then play is second, because we put ourselves last, and we do it all the time, right? Typically it's a chick thing, right? It's that feminine thing that says they're the caregiver, they have to, they're supposed to, whatever. So we got to remember how to play. I remember when the kids were growing up, we used to do the 2-minute tidy or the 10-minute tidy, or we'd choose 3 songs and we would blast it through the house, and we had to clean as much of the house as we could before the songs were over. And the kids loved the challenge of cleaning up before those 3 songs were. We got the house cleaned in 10 minutes. That was like the big comfy couch we learned from her, So there's ways that we can have fun doing what we need to absolutely do. And it's how we look at it. All right, next category. Time, talent, and treasure. This is our tithe, or our give of 11 hours, your contribution. Now, it's really interesting. This is the one, when I typically teach this class, that people go, wow, I give way more than 11 hours a week. So let me explain to you. Zig Ziglar's quote's one of my favorite quotes. You can get everything you want in your life simply by helping enough people get everything they want in theirs. I heard him say it like 35 years ago, and I'm like, oh. And I love people. But to my detriment, I would help people. Yes, I'll help you. Yes, I'll do that. Of course, I'll be on that committee. Yes, I'll be on that board. Yes, no problem. Absolutely, no problem. Until Barbilee had nothing to say, because she was so exhausted and so burnt out. And that's an over contribution. So if we know we have 11 hours to give, where are we going to give them so that we feel taken care of as well. Do not confuse give and contribution and tithing your time and talent and treasures with obligation, because then it's burned out. That might go under your necessities category. So find something within the give time. So shoveling the snow for your neighbor, can that be exercise? Can you put in your favorite podcast and have fun doing it? Can that fall under 3 categories all of a sudden? And it all stacks up. It's how we look at it. So who or how are you going to help this week? So it's Tuesday. So figure out 11 hours. Could be even doing dishes when it's not your day to do dishes. It could be, helping somebody with something that you're good at, but they're not in their business. Like right now, this is contribution time for me, right? I'm giving one of my time, talents, and treasures to help you guys kind of see things a little bit differently. So this hour gets to count for my 11 hours. So who or how are you going to help this week? Who wants to tell me? Or have you done it in the past that you can continue doing?
You keep taking the examples. I actually love shoveling. I live in a cul-de-sac, so I do the entire loop of the sidewalk, and then I'll try and do at least 1 or 2 neighbors worth of shoveling. And like that, I love that. And I love that you use that as part of the kind of the mission statement. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. I don't have to do that here in Mazatlan, but I do sweep the leaves because a lot of leaves fall in our yard at this time of year, to say. So what else can you do for contribution? So think about your business. Do you offer advice for free? Because now you track that as contribution, right? If you do some sort of lunch and learn, if you do, Stacy's a bookkeeper. If she talks to anybody about numbers or gives them a little tip and stuff, that's part of give. So don't forget about this one, you guys. It's easy to do. They're all easy to do and easy not to do. But if we really look at how we're serving others, we feel a lot better. If my grandmother used to say, if you're crabby, go help somebody because there's somebody worse off than you. Yes, Grandma. And she usually meant her come and clean her house. Okay, does everybody have, I know you didn't tell me, but does everybody have an idea of how they're going to help somebody this week? Right? A lot of times too, and as business owners, sometimes, especially as entrepreneurs, so I'm in network marketing, right? So I sometimes, I will count when I'm training my new team members on how to do something. When I spend an hour, so today at 2:00, one of my team members and I are meeting, we're meeting for an hour. That counts to me. It's also part of my necessity time because it's something I do for work, but I'm giving of that freely. Right? I'm not begrudgingly doing it. I'm like, no, just, go watch this video, figure it out for yourself. Again, it's always our perspective on how we look at something to make sure that we feel good about doing it. Do you guys get that? Do you get the importance of it feeling good? How many of you have aging parents or somebody in your world that you might have to soon start concerning yourselves with taking care of? Maybe there's going to be more doctor runs, or they can't go to the groceries as much, or they're already afraid to go out. These things start to creep up on us as we get older because our parents and our aunts and uncles and stuff get older, or our neighbors and stuff. When we give our time willingly, it's good. When we feel obligated, it's not so good. So always keep it in mind. How can I feel good about this? Because you know what? Life is too short. Next area. Dun, 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 drum roll. Okay. This one is got to be one of my favorite areas. Investing for spending. And you're like, what? How do you invest time for spending time? That doesn't make any sense, Barbilee. Yes, I'm talking about specifically money here. We in our society Now, Matt's making up, he's in barter pay. He's got another kind of monetary system going on in the barter pay world. But we still have to learn, even in Matt's system, how to handle the barter, how to make sure it works for him, for everybody that's using it, right? I look at the currency, right? Handling money, it's not a natural thing. How many of you had parents that sat down and said, this is how, this is the value of this. This is look at foreign exchange, Barbilee. You need to learn about foreign exchange and understand why our dollar is weaker than the United States dollar. So no, we can't go to Disneyland because it's 47 cents to the Canadian dollar. And, my parents never taught me that. My mother used to say, oh, if you want to afford it, go and get a job, figure it out. You want a new bike, go figure it out. You need a new pair of pants, go figure it out. Which I honor her because she turned me into an entrepreneur, because she never gave me anything, had to go figure it out. But I still, into my 20s, I don't know anything. I didn't know anything about money. I didn't know how it worked. I didn't understand that money should be working for me and not me always trading my time for money. And that's one of the hardest skills for people to learn. So how can you invest in today so you have a return tomorrow? So you get 11 hours, and this might be, I'm not going to give you examples because Matt always says I give you too many examples. So I want to see what you're thinking first. So what can you do to start investing your time today so you have more time later? So I'll give you my personal example. I had to learn how to do network marketing. I'd never done network marketing. I'd done sales. My mother used to tell me I could sell poop to pig farmers, because I could sell anything, right? I used to snowmen or to Eskimos, but I didn't know how to do network marketing. So I had to learn the skill of building a team, of helping others build their own team. These were skills I had to learn. And because I learned those, I can now pass them on. And now I have a network marketing business that pays me, and I can still be in Mexico for the winter. Sorry, guys that are under snow in cold climates right now. But when you're watching this on YouTube later, it might be sunny where you are. So think about what you can do now. And entrepreneurs, you're already doing this, by the way. You're learning how to do your business better. This already kind of counts. So you get to kind of, mingle it in, because you're already investing your time. So where can you start investing your time today so you have more to spend later? What do you think? And just so you know, I'm a teacher. Silence doesn't frighten me.
Well, Barbilee, like you said, something is investing in yourself, for the business. For me, you kind of gave me that kick in the butt last week, helping me out with my card, made me come out that Thursday night. Now and I've actually booked 2 one-on-ones for earlier this week and next week already, sort of thing. So it's that learning is stepping out of the comfort zone. So investing in myself by not being self-conscious, I guess.
That's perfect. That's a great example, Doug, because it's something new you learned. Now you're investing your time so that you can get new customers, grow your business, and then sell it for $2 billion later down the road, right?
That'd be perfect.
Yeah.
I could be down in Mexico with you.
Right? There you go. So anybody else? Don't be shy, guys.
I guess for me, on the same kind of train when it comes to business, I'm taking a course that's going to help me improve my systems and processes, so I'm not spending so much time on the back end of stuff. So
perfect. So you need to invest some time now, so it makes it easy later, right? That's the same thing. So with those of you that have been on our networking have heard me complaining about changing my CRM systems, right? And I'm putting a lot of time into this new system because I know once it's up and running, it's a click of a button and I get more time later. And that's what we're talking about, investing time for spending so we have more time to spend or invest later. Okay, everybody gets that? Ooh, okay. Now, as a teacher, my next one is one of my faves. Actually, they're all my faves because this is life. This is just how life works, right? Nothing works in these little itty bitty boxes. And I know, boys, you have the male brain. And if you've never watched A Tale of Two Brains on YouTube, you need to go and watch it. And everything's very linear for you guys. But it really is, life is all encompassing. Life is very holistic. So in this category, it's about education. Use it or lose it, and that's your brain. The majority of people that have Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, dementia is because they had very brain active type careers and then they just stopped. We have people on the pickleball court. The oldest guy I've ever played pickleball with is 89 years old, and nothing got through that guy. Now, if you lobbed it over his head, he never ran for it. But he was so fast. He could switch hands. He got that ball. Nothing. He was this brick wall, 89 years old. He says, what else am I going to do? Die? I said, right. He knew that he had to stay active. He knew he had to keep using his brain, and pickleball, learning a new skill and changing hands and stuff, that's a really good one. So what are you going to do for education? So Stacy had said she's already reading, right? So that's great for your mental health, Stacy, and for, improving yourself, but that also falls under the education category. And maybe it's fun because I know you guys are talking about it in the group as well. So take a class, teach a class, read a book, attend a seminar, all of these things that say to you, how can I learn so that I'm a better person? Because if you're a better person, aren't the people around you better off? Right? It's somebody on my Facebook the other day commented and said, well, I don't know why you worry about anything going on in Alberta right now. You live on a little island in Mexico. I don't. It's Mazatlan. Mexico's a country, but anyways. But I understood her point of view. But I do care about what's going on. So I always learn. I want to know what's going on. I want to have these conversations. I like to be informed and educated. So what are you going to learn next? Where are you going to spend 11 hours this week and next week and the next week? And, maybe you can take a full course and you can stack them up for a month. So maybe there's a course you need to take online and it's all weekend. Maybe you need to stack all your education on the course. That's fine, right? I'm giving you these numbers to give you this umbrella look to everything that says, if I look at how I'm doing things and actually apply them, the life flows so much easier. Life is just happy, and what's that expression? Happy house, happy spouse, happy spouse, happy, So if you got a partner, children will tell you when they're not happy, right? So you need to be the best that you can for the people around you. So what are you going to learn? Maybe you want to learn something new. What? Talk to me. Who wants to learn something new in these next 11 hours? You're going to have to do something. This class counts as that, by the way. You're learning something new. So what else? Stacy's taking a class. Who else is doing something?
I'm doing some learning myself with graphic artists, being laser engraving. It's learning more and more in depth about Corel Draw. And it's interesting is you go down that rabbit hole sometimes at Pinterest or YouTube, and you actually learn stuff right off the bat, which is great. So that's what I've been finding. So find that one thing you're interested in. And that for me, it's right now, it's learning the ins and outs of graphic design.
And that's important to your job, right? To your entrepreneurial adventure, which is really good because you get to stack them. So you're like, oh, I'm always working. And you're like, no, I'm learning today. Did you get it? You can change your perspective. You don't just go, oh, I've worked 15 hours today. Oh, no. I read a book for fun. Yes, it was about Corel Draw, or I read something, or I learned a video, or, whatever it was. It's how you look at it. And then all of a sudden you're not working 90 hours a week. You might have a normal 40-hour week. And now you're looking at things differently. And that's what these first 5 categories are about, right? Play. I love what I do. When I get a text message from somebody that says, hey, I went to Costco and I grabbed a 12 and a 14 because those are my sizes, and I take them home because, nobody, just buy everything at Costco, take it home and then return what doesn't fit. And she says, and they were both too big on me. To me, that's fun. That's not work for me, right? So I get really excited and I love what I do. And most of us here, love what we do. That's why we do it. So play, or pay yourself first, play, investing your time for spending, your give, and your education. Now we're going to talk about the biggest, like the elephant in the room, the one that everybody thinks they spend so much time on, you know, all these things that go on in their world. And I love this picture because she's in a little casual business suit and she's got all this stuff going on and she's in her Zen happy place because she knows she's got it all handled. Because when you take care of those first 5 categories, your necessities falls into place as well. It really does. So it is last for a reason. I'm going to start a sentence and someone's going to finish it. Nobody on their deathbed ever said, I wish I would have
worked more.
Yeah, I see it's on the screen. Good job, Matt. See, I don't make it difficult, people. I used to teach junior high, just so you know. No one's ever done that. No one's ever said, geez, I wish I spent more time at the office. Gee, I wish I would have, you know, just taken one more client. No one ever says that, right? What we focus on, what we need in our lives is not more hours in the day to do more work. It's to balance our work and our life so we have more hours in the day for our lives. So we're going to focus on the fundamentals. So this is the biggest one. So we're going to actually spend a couple minutes. And this is where you guys are all going to unmute and you're going to have a conversation with me because we're going to talk about necessities. So what falls under the necessities category? But now that you know the other 5, that might fall someplace else. So for me, for absolute example, or you know, for necessities, my necessities are, you know, food. I have to eat. Right? That's something nobody else can, I can't outsource. Now, can I have someone else cook for me? Like my daughter did today, very excited about that. But I have to worry about my food. That's something I need to take care of. I have to, you know, my house, can I outsource my cleaning? Yeah, I don't have to do my cleaning, so I could outsource it. So let's start talking about the things that you think are necessities that are going to fill up this 55 hours for you. Okay, so name some things.
Feeding my family.
Mm-hmm. So what kind of family? Like, did you say feed my family or?
Feeding them. So like making them supper, school lunches.
Okay.
You know, these kids, they always demand to be fed.
Right? How dare they? So that definitely falls under the necessities time. Now, could you have fun? How old are your kids?
I have a 21 and a 13-year-old. So the 13's just at home with me.
Perfect. So could you have fun or educate your child on cooking and preparing stuff? Totally, right? So they can be kind of, we can make them come together. Could you put on your favorite dance music? Could you listen to a podcast? You know, watch The Swedish Chef on the Muppets every time before you cook. You know, right? Yeah, it'll make you so much fun, right? Okay, what else? What else are necessities that we absolutely have to take care of?
Just the home life itself. Like if you own a house, you got to take care of the outside yard, whether it be the snow shoveling, the grass cutting, cleaning up after the animals. Yeah.
Now, those are necessities and can be outsourced if you're finding that you're overwhelmed. Because there is probably some kid in the neighborhood. Now, I know it used to be $5. I don't know what they charge anymore for snow shoveling. I'm sure they, you know, little on are charging at $20, $25, right? So although it's a necessity, could be outsourced. What else?
Laundry.
I was just going to say
laundry. Yeah. Now, laundry is a really good one because it never ends. Okay. So how can you fit it in so that it doesn't become an overwhelming task? Right. And
Make my husband do it.
Make my husband do it. Good answer.
Hey! As one of the guys that's still alive here, I take offense to that.
He's downstairs in the basement all the time anyway, so he can do it. He's right beside the laundry machine.
There you go. So here's the thing about laundry. It's one of those necessities that has to be done. So how can you make it fun, right? I used to, when the laundry came out of the dryer, I'd call the girls. I'm like, warm laundry, and we'd all run into my bedroom, and I'd throw the laundry basket on them, and then anything that landed on them, they had to fold.
Yeah.
Right, and it was just a game, right? Now, well, they're 21 and 25. The 20, yeah, I guess she puts her clothes away. She's here living with me now. So if we integrate fun and excitement and things on these things that are kind of blah, it just helps it go by a lot more quickly, right? And it's that different perspective again, okay? Sometimes I put laundry in first thing in the morning, and my husband gets home from work and he goes, are you doing laundry? Oh yeah, it's in the washing machine. That's one of the joys of working from home. Okay, what else are necessities? Now your job is also a necessity, okay? So now you have home life, and if you're an entrepreneur and you're running your own business, that's also a necessity. And you're like, how can I only do 55 hours of that? This is where you're gonna have to get creative with your overlaps, right? And you might say, okay, from 8 to 4 is my job, and I'm not taking care of any other thing other than my work. And that's where I spend that time. And then my, say, 5 o'clock to 11 o'clock, that's when I break into these other categories. Like, you can change to fit your life, you know, but I'm saying this is a nice umbrella to start working with. So if you want to take your entrepreneurial, like into your entrepreneurial stuff, your business, and break it into its own time frame, and then break these into their own time frame, you can totally do that. That works for you, right? When I started working on this, I was telling you, I was like 97% between 2 small children. I worked days, my husband worked nights. That's what we did. I taught school during the day. I come home from school at 4 o'clock. His shift started at 5. He worked till 11:30, 12 o'clock. He'd come home and sleep. I'd get up in the morning. I'd go to school. He'd take care of the kids. I'd come home. He'd go. I'd take care of the kids, do the laundry. It was constant. There was no time to breathe. So we had to get really creative on how we did things. And more importantly, how we looked at things, because we would have become very exhausted very quickly. Anybody feel a little overwhelmed with all the things that are on their list all the time, right? And this is why I leave necessities last. And I always say to people, you got to put in your rocks first. That's you. You are your rocks. How am I going to take care of myself? How am I going to take care of my family? How am I going to feed my family? Right? These are the basics of things that are really important. And then you fill in the sand, and then you fill in the water and whatever. But you start with you first. How many of you have been on an airplane? And how many of you, the first time you heard the pilot say, or the stewardess, flight attendant say, and if an oxygen mask if oxygen mask falls, put it on yourself first, not your children or any elderly that's traveling with you. And as a parent, you go, hell no, I'm putting that on my kid. But you know what? You have to put it on yourself first. And that's why the pay yourself first is there. And that's why necessities are last. So if you have more necessities than you have any other area, figure out how to change your perspective of what that looks like. Okay? Now, there are many ways to integrate all of these 5, 6 categories into your world. Okay, so how many of you drive? Well, okay, now you're all staying home, so I'm not going to ask you that question. But if you do go somewhere, oh, you still drive, Doug? Okay, good. Turn off the radio. Just be with yourself. Give yourself some alone time if that's your time, right? Spend 3 extra minutes in the shower. Go for a walk at lunchtime. Play with your kids or your pets. Make a home cooked meal with your 2 hands, right? Find time for yourself, right? Pay yourself first so that all these other ones come a lot easier to you. Think about something you love to do, but maybe haven't done it for a while. And that's the first thing you're going to do. Maybe it's stretching. Maybe it's walking. Maybe it's a bubble bath. I saw the dumbest picture. Okay, we as entrepreneurs know Somebody made a bath scene and they had one of those bath things, and then they put their computer over their bathtub. Please don't do that. I'm like, why would you do that? Don't you understand how bad that is? Anyway, I would not find that restful. I would not find that being relaxed. So I'm sorry if it does make you relaxed and you want to watch a movie in there. Okay, go ahead. But find time for yourself first, so these other areas will take care of them. Oh, I don't want to show that one yet. So tell me how, one thing, you're going to take care of yourself this week. We've gone through the whole thing. Somebody, real quick, how are you going to take care of yourself this week?
I have 2 hours of sitting in my van while my son does ski lessons tonight. So that's where I'm going to read.
Nice. Stacy, I love that. Turn your heater on because I hear it's going to be a chilly one.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, what else?
I'm going to sit on the couch and have a glass of wine and just watch TV and not feel guilty about not doing anything.
Nice. Perfect. What else? Doug, Serena.
Jamie kind of took mine because usually that's at supper time. So when I get home from work, my drive is only 2 minutes, granted. But when I get home from work, it's to clean up the kitchen, make supper for Shannon and I, and then we downstairs, and then we sit on the couch and we watch a movie and or watch our shows that are taped. And that's our the 2 hours, 3 hours of me time sort of thing before I go back to doing something else. So
Perfect.
And for me, it's right now it's learning still sort of thing. I'm always trying to learn something. So the day you stop learning is the day you're dead, as I was always
Exactly.
taught, so.
Exactly. Serena, what's one thing you're going to do for you this week?
I'm going to dance.
Yay!
Yeah.
I think that life is way too short, right? I know we all know somebody who died suddenly or lost a spouse suddenly or something like that. Or they got a diagnosis or, like crap happens. So if we're not taking care of ourselves, we're not taking care of what's most important, right? That's why I say we cannot manage time. Okay, we cannot manage time. We can only manage our activities. And then we see, oh my God, we have too many activities in our day-to-day. So how can we break it down so we can appreciate everything we get to do, not everything we got to do, right? I get to go play pickleball. I get to go for a bike ride in the afternoon if I want. I get to do a call like this. I get to train my new team member today. I get to help a new client enroll her first customer. I get to do a lot of things that I love to do. And it takes some time to get there because we have to put ourselves first. Now, quick question. Before today, did you know the importance of putting yourself first? And before today, did you always put yourself first? Now, after today, will you at least feel guilty if you don't put yourself first? No, I really want to impress upon you guys the importance of assuring your quality of life, because we only get one chance. Now we might believe in reincarnation, and we might believe in, coming back as a mosquito or some other karmic life or something like that. But our quality of life is the most important thing. When my mom ended up in palliative care for the last 5 weeks of her life, the only thing the doctor ever talked about was her quality of life. Well, she'll need a little more morphine because of this, or she'll need this because of that. And we want to make sure she has a decent quality of life before she died. And that seems to be the only time we really talk about our quality of life, is when we're close to being dead. So I'm going to challenge you to live fully until you die. And look at your quality of life now. Create a life you don't need a vacation from. Start looking at, well, what's the one thing? Where can I play more? Where can I educate more? Where can I invest a little more of my, time so that I can have more time later? Where can I give a little bit more from my heart? And maybe that means we have to pull back on some of the things we think we have to do and put yourself first. So when you go to Quality of Life Assurance, it's up. My new system is up. I'm so excited. Anyways, my new system is up. So when you go to qualityoflifeassurance.com, when you fill in one of the things, you get fired off the ebook. It's all of this and more. Okay. Do I need the last one? Oh, yeah, that's me. Find us on Facebook. Okay. So I want to open up the room for a second. Stop sharing. So if you're off camera and you're still here paying attention, unmute yourself. Everybody unmute yourself. Perfect. Okay. And we're going to do what I like to call the I promise. Okay. So if you were a Boy Scout and you have your little scout fingers, or you'd like to put your hand on your heart, or you do the little solemn oath kind of thing, right? Everybody repeat after me. I, and then say your name. So I,
Stacy,
Barbilee, promise to take time to pee
take time to pee
and take time for me
and take time for me
every single day.
every single day.
Now, when you take time to pee, I want you to sit down, ladies. Don't squat. Sit down. If you have to wipe the seatie, be a sweetie, wipe the seatie, have a seat. Take a couple of breaths. If you're in the public bathroom, don't breathe too deeply. Just take a couple breaths. So go to the water, wash your hands. Everybody show me how you're supposed to wash your hands. What song are you supposed to sing while you're washing your hands?
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, twinkle, twinkle, little star, the alphabet. Sing, I got lucky, or I don't care, sing some song. Look at yourself in the mirror. Look yourself right in the eye and say, dang, you're good looking. You some sexy mama. Do something. Take a couple minutes for yourself. That could be fun, right? Helps you breathe, slows you down. How many of you have your best ideas in the shower? Right? That's why I say give yourself 3 extra minutes in the shower. Let those ideas flow through you, right? Toss a coin to the witcher. What's a witcher? Great to sing. Oh, it's a song. I can see the chat now. Okay. So any questions that you have about an activity or something in your life and you're not sure which category to put it into? Because sometimes that happens. You're like, well, I feel obligated or something. So does anybody have something and they're unsure?
Walking the dog.
Perfect. Where should that go? Who can help her?
Fun. Me. Something you have to do.
Can it be exercise? Can it be
Also giving too, because you're giving your time to walk your animal, but it's also your time for yourself.
Do you see it's how we look at it? If we look at it as a chore, right? It becomes something. But if we go, okay, let's go, anything else? What else? Anybody else have something that they just?
I'm the treasurer for the parent council committee for my son's school. So that's a commitment. That's a commitment.
Yeah.
For sure.
So where does it fit?
I stick that in the necessity.
It is, but what else is it? Are you getting paid for it?
No.
So where else does it fall?
Oh, the time, I guess.
The contribution, right? Yeah, the tithing for sure. Now, do you enjoy doing it?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Not always.
No, of course, but because it's your job, right? But you enjoy the numbers piece of it and stuff like that, right? Like you enjoy that piece. It's not dealing with the parents and telling them they have no money or they can't spend that or whatever, right? I know.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still a part of fun, right? It can still fall under that category. So, ladies and gentlemen, you have taken the last 57 minutes to relax, take some time for yourself. Just like the name of the thing, take time to pee. I'm going to quit 3 minutes early because you might need to go pee. Just say it. No, I'm kidding. You can do that when we're done. But Mitch is going to come back out right now.
Sure.
There he is.
Barbilee, exactly as advertised and exactly what I've come to expect in the 2 years that you and I have had a chance to get to know each other. Thank you very much for doing that. And ladies and gentlemen that are inside of our live studio audience, because remember, it's all in the presentation, of course. Thank you for doing this. And for our live audience on YouTube, and we've had people coming in and joining us, nobody commented yet today, but I'm sure they'll come back after. You can find Barbilee. So come and get a hold of us at syndicate.org. You will be able to find her inside of our community portal where you're going to find tons of information. You'll find links to the replays for this after. And of course, where you're watching this, it's inside of our playlists for season 2 of Syndicate Talks, which by saying that means that there's a season 1. Multiple hours of free giveaway and the kind of thing that can make a difference in your business, make a difference in your life, and improve the quality. And of course, to share it like this is an act of selfless love. After all, that's what we want to do. So Barbilee, thank you so much. And on behalf of our live studio audience here, for everybody else live on YouTube, thank you for joining us on a Syndicate Talks. This is our way in the midst of the pandemic to be able to give something that we are good at, we feel passionate about. We are, in many respects, experts sharing our expertise, but by being experts, it also means the most important lesson of all, we are still learning how to do much of this as well. So thank you for joining us today. Check out the rest of the episodes inside of Syndicate Talks Season 2. Check out Season 1. Check out the rest of our content. Watch for our events coming up. Many of the other wonderful things that we bring as a community to our members inside of Syndicate. And of course, that we share freely to you. Because by sharing these resources, by building better businesses and building better business owners, we are building better communities. And after all, that's why we are tribe, which means we are family. Thank you so much for joining us today. Join us next time on Syndicate Talks. I am Mitch Cameron, the Savage in Business. That's Barbilee, and I'm pointing directly at her on my screen. Wherever she shows up on yours, I can't tell you. But guess what? We thank you so much for coming out and being with us today.